Russian and Ukrainian delegations are again set to meet for a fifth round of talks after positive developments yesterday. Foreign correspondent Alex Salvi is in Poland now with more details.
There was a glimmer of hope following Monday's negotiations in Belarus. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky saying the meeting went well and announcing that the talks would continue into today. In a video posted online, a Ukrainian negotiator and presidential advisor said he believes some results could be achieved in a matter of days. He also laid out what demands Ukraine is looking for in these latest talks.
Our positions have not changed. It's peace, immediate ceasefire, withdrawal from all Russian troops, and only then we can talk about neighboring relations and a political settlement.
The Russian delegation also had good things to say about the latest round, adding that the talks had made substantial progress. Neither side has given details as to what terms of the negotiations are advancing, but Moscow has previously demanded that Ukraine recognize Crimea as a Russian territory, as well as the separatist Donbas states. But there are some demands that have been considered to be a non-starter, such as the demilitarization of Ukraine, as well as the installation of a new government at the hands of Moscow. The latest remarks from both delegations suggest that they've been able to find a possible compromise. But Ukrainian President Zelensky is also standing firm in his position that Kyiv is willing to negotiate, but will not surrender or accept any ultimatums. Back to you.
Alex Salvi for us in Poland, thank you. And joining us now is former Ambassador Ric Grenell, the former Director of National Intelligence, former U.S. Ambassador to Germany, and Senior National Security Analyst. Ambassador, great to have you with us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, off the top, as someone who has personally been involved and hosted peace talks in the Balkans, what is your reaction to what we just heard from Alex Salvi and the fact that, Zelensky's softening his stance on NATO? He said to the Canadian Parliament today, we're reasonable people. Do you see a path forward for diplomacy here?
Sure. I'm a diplomat. I always see a path for diplomacy, even when the bombs are about to go off. I think our Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, should be having meetings and doing diplomatic, processes all over Europe. He should really be flying around trying to get the Europeans to put pressure on the Russians. I just don't see him very active. I'm glad to see that there are talks going on. I would just caution on one thing, is that what we read from a press release or from press statements is really only half the story. Hopefully, smart diplomats are talking privately and saying one thing privately about what they really want to happen, and then being very general in their public statements. The last thing you need right now is having the media or the public talking about the details before you can get a deal done. Right now, they need to be privately talking and doing everything they can to come up with the best deal possible. And then both sides get to decide if this deal that they've come up with, where Russia demands that Ukraine do certain things and Ukraine demand Russia do certain things, you evaluate on the merits. Is this going to be beneficial in the long run? Good diplomacy means that you don't get everything, but if you have really good negotiators, then you can represent your side pretty well.
An excellent point about not showing your hand, not revealing, because it is a very delicate situation here. I do want to get your take on, obviously, the war in Ukraine has now exposed a lot of dangerous scenarios for us. The U.S. trying to get oil from Iran while they're close to having enriched plutonium to make a nuke. They're firing missiles into Iraq, Ambassador, and it's having a big effect also on our relationship with Saudi Arabia. This lack of energy dependence has led us to a dangerous, dangerous place.
You're exactly right. Look, energy is one of the reasons that countries go to war. You look at the stance of Germany for 16 years under Chancellor Merkel, and they cozied up to the Russians. There's no question about it. And then as soon as Merkel was gone and the new government came in, they said no more. We've got to pay our NATO obligations. We've got to be a strong Western ally, and we got to stop buying this energy from Russia. I think that Putin is now forever, his reputation is ruined. I don't think any country is going to want to do business with him. And the lessons for America is that the 4 years of Donald Trump, when we were able to produce energy for ourselves and become an energy exporter, that's when we really saw peace. When America is able to find energy sources within our own country and not have to go to Venezuela or Iran or Russia for energy, that is going to give us the best leverage over other countries and certainly over pump prices. I would say to Americans that are tired of seeing gas prices skyrocketing, then you better be advocating for America and our politicians to find energy sources here in the United States and not buy it from somewhere else.
Yes, giving us that autonomy, if you will, to operate in this geopolitical sphere. I want to talk to you a little bit about Saudi Arabia. We know they're not taking Biden's phone calls, but there is talk, Ambassador, that Riyadh and Beijing may use the yuan now to set an oil deal. So obviously a direct hit at undermining the U.S. dollar. What do you take from that type of conversation?
I would also say it's not just the Saudis, it's certainly the UAE officials. We've got a real big problem in the Middle East because the vacuum that has been put in place because of Joe Biden, the lack of leadership, other countries are responding by going elsewhere. They can't wait around forever. I see it happening in the Balkans. I see it happening in Latin America and certainly in Asia. But when America does not lead, then other countries are going to have to find other partners like Russia or China. And this is a crisis for America. Joe Biden is totally failing. And this is not just a partisan statement. You look at all the polls and his numbers are the lowest ever. And now we've got inflation going through the roof, gas prices. All of this is because Joe Biden abandoned Donald Trump's idea of putting America first and instead really allowed the Europeans to veto some of our policies. Remember, Joe Biden dropped the sanctions on this Russian pipeline, which let Putin go in to Ukraine thinking nobody's going to do anything about this. And the Germans and the Europeans flipped fast, and I think the Biden administration has been too slow to really arm the Ukrainians on their own.
Well, you have the president, consulting with TikTok creators on strategy, Ambassador. So there you have it. That kind of says it all in a nutshell. You can't make this stuff up. Real quick, maybe 30 seconds. There's a lot of terror in the Middle East. The Houthi rebels attacking the UAE. They're hitting oil refineries, airstrips. We're not even talking about that. Where do you think that could be, an open a target for U.S.?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's not getting covered in the media. But remember, Joe Biden took the Houthis off the terrorist list, and within a few short months, they started bombing the UAE. It's one of the reasons why the UAE and Saudi Arabia aren't returning Joe Biden's calls. They see the consequences of bad policy.
Ambassador Ric Grenell, appreciate your insight. It's great to have you with us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All the best.